So every summer, I have a very similar thought. For the longest time, I was a big fan of Car Talk, which some of you might remember, a wonderful show on NPR with the two brothers who would spend more time laughing than they would actually helping people with their car problems. And even when they did help with the car problems, we're not entirely sure just how helpful it was. But it was such a wonderful show. And I would note every summer how the puzzler would take the summer off. And I thought, how neat would it be if every summer the sermon could take the summer off? But alas, that was not to be. But every now and then, in preparation for what I would like to talk about, I'm inspired by the words of colleagues. And tonight, I'm going to share the writings of Rabbi Jeff Salkin and his writing partner, Sandra Lilienthal, who asked the central question in preparation for Shavuot. The Jewish people stood together at Sinai. Can we today? And in their writing, they say, Shavuot is approaching, the birthday not only of Judaism, but of Jewish pluralism as well. Shavuot commemorates God's revelation of 10 Commandments, and by implication, all of Torah at Mount Sinai. At that moment, a ragtag nation of newly freed slaves heard the divine voice. What started as a people became a people with a purpose, to bring Judaism into the world. Yes, at Sinai, we Jews stood together. Today, not so much. We argue about matters of observance, like which standard of kashrut to use, or even whether to do so at all, and how to observe Shabbat, and which team is better, the Cornhuskers or the Longhorns, and increasingly and painfully about the role of Israel and Zionism in our lives. If we all stood together at Sinai, why do we struggle so much to stand together now? It takes 49 days to get from the liberation of Pesach to the revelation at Shavuot. That is a transformative journey. We no longer work for Pharaoh. We now work for God. More than that, we are partners with God. Every Jew, past, present, and future, and everyone who would someday become a Jew, was present at Sinai. It was a unifying experience and the beginning of Jewish content. And yet, while standing at Sinai was a unifying experience, we must note that unity in this context did not equal homogeneity. Instead, it was an embodiment of pluralism. A midrash teaches that God appeared differently to each Israelite at Sinai as a warrior, a teacher, an elder, a youth. God appeared to each person according to their needs, but he was still the same God. In another midrash, Rabbi Yochanan relates that God modulated the divine voice according to each person's capacity. These teachings impart a powerful idea. The entire Jewish people was present for the same revelation, but we all experienced it in our own personal and diverse ways. We stood together as one people, yet each of us experienced God uniquely. In other words, it was the birth of Jewish pluralism. Pluralism in Judaism is a feature, not a bug. Jacob blessed his sons differently, recognizing their unique strengths. Moses, too, acknowledged the distinct characteristics of each tribe. When we crossed the Red Sea, a midrash says that the waters divided into 12 separate paths, one for each tribe. Our differences are an important part of who we are, but those differences did not prevent us from standing together as one when it mattered most at Sinai, when we received and shared framework, the Torah, which would transcend our individual distinctions. This leads to a question for Jewish professionals and leaders. The Jewish people face immense challenges, including increasing anti-Semitism, our relationship with Israel after October 7th attacks, and internal political battles, even here in the United States. These challenges require collaborative solutions and a united front. Then why do our differences overshadow our common purpose? Many of us disagree on fundamental issues about Jewish tradition or about the place of Israel in our lives. But we engage with those diverse ideas with respect, or we are supposed to engage with those diverse ideas with respect. We are supposed to listen and learn and see the divine spark within each person, even and especially when there is someone with whom we disagree. This, if we do it right, will have a profound intellectual and emotional impact on each person we encounter, each person we engage with, each person that we disagree with in sacred and meaningful ways. As Shavuot approaches, let it be a call to action to understand not only our place in the covenants, but also, and even more importantly, in our relationships with every other member of our diverse Jewish family. It is time to consciously work towards rebuilding that sense of collective identity, to once again stand as one with our many voices, varied understandings, and differing beliefs, but united by actionable respect for one another. The challenges are too great, and the potential of our collective strength is too vast to do otherwise. We all stood at Sinai. We may have all had different experiences there and different understandings, but we all stood together at Sinai. As Shavuot approaches, may we continue to strive to find ways to stand together again. Shabbat Shalom.